Hey everyone, welcome back to the M&R Show. I'm Ron.
And I'm Malcolm.
And you see, we have our special guest again. We all know who he is. He's been on the show 1,000 times at this point. No need for too much of an introduction, but we see what G's doing on Twitter and everything. How you doing, G?
I'm doing good. Ready to be back. Been a while. Done with exams.
Yes.
I gotta get on my bag over break.
I'm so happy I don't have to do exams, man, because I don't miss college. I don't miss the college exam. I don't miss that. I'm happy that's over with.
All right, now we coming with a pretty interesting first topic today. Big debate on Twitter. I would love to see what G has to say. Then Malcolm can go on this topic. And it's basically, is Anthony Davis really an alpha? Is he a number one option on a championship level team? Everyone's been debating us.
Okay, so this is what I will say. Let's put this up. Anthony Davis can be the best scorer on the championship team. We've seen that. He can be your best defender. Can he be your best player offensively? No, I don't think so. And I look at first option as the guy your offense is going to run through. So you're going to need somebody like LeBron or an elite playmaker, Harden, maybe KD. Somebody's better on offense than him because he's not that much of a creator. He's a finisher. But to say he's not an alpha, like, we're really forgetting what Anthony Davis is. Like, he's regressed some defensively. You went from probably top 3 defender to a 7 to 10 defender. But it's getting to the point where it's like, people forgetting, like, he's still 25 and 10. He's shooting the least amount of threes he's shot since being a Laker. And he's averaging the highest field goal percentage. The only thing now is the fact that they're losing because it's a bad roster construction. We're going to have to blame somebody, and we're just going to look at their flaws. But he's what he's damn near always been. It's just his flaws are being masked because the surrounding people can't, help mitigate those. That's just my opinion.
Nah, G, I understand. You give very good basketball analysis, and I appreciate it. You do a very good job, because you're good at it. You look at tape and everything like that. But at the end of the day, we're talking about the GM-wise. Should we have a guy like Anthony Davis be the center around our franchise? I think that he provides a very good option secondary-wise, but I think that, just like you said, we do need to find a playmaker. So with that answer, the answer would be, no, I don't think he should be the number one option. That's the point. But when I look at a guy like AD, you see in the Pelicans, I understand the Pelicans did not really build AD a lot. It wasn't a built-around team for him. And I think the 2 times he went to the playoffs, he had a playmaker with him with Rondo and stuff like that. And then, like, when he came to LA, he had LeBron and stuff like that. But when we've seen without LeBron, he is 5-7. He's under 500. He mildly struggles. So I think that those are problems that we have to, that needs to be fixed. And then when LeBron leaves, we have questions as, AD needs to find somebody to give him the ball. AD can't get a guy like Bradley Beal or just a shooter right next to him. No. He needs a guy who's be able to force to give him the ball. And to be honest, like, now you have to look at a whole different, hemisphere for the Lakers, because they thinking that Russell Westbrook will be that guy. And Russell Westbrook could be that guy, but he's getting old. And that's going to be a problem down the line. So, to end it up, like, to simmer my point, I just think that AD isn't a number one option. He's a very good player, and he provides 25 and 10 night in and night out. But is he that guy that's going to be able to take me to the promised land? He's going to be that number one option, be able to consistently win me games? I think that's a question that we got to ask.
It's crazy because Anthony Davis, like, you can draft with the number one pick. That's a home run pick. But you can have a home run pick and still not actually hit the ball at the park. Like, it still kind of hit the fence. Like, it went pretty far, but it didn't literally leave the park. And that's Anthony Davis. That's Damien Lillard. Like, these are those players that, like, they're really good. Like, really, it don't get too much better than this. It's only a couple of guys. But it's like, even still with this guy, you still can't win a championship with him as your best player. So it's just like, because he's still a top 10 player. G said he's still a top 10 defender. He's still a great offensive player. Shooting has been, wow. Like, he's in the I think he's now up in the 20s. Woohoo, AD. Like, God. But, like, we know he's still a good player. He's actually been better in the paint than, like, the narrative would show you he's been good in the paint. But this is also why, like, the numbers are like, all right, he's been good in the paint, but, like, when I watch the game, he's good at offensive rebounding. He's good at the follow-up basket. He's good at diving when Westbrook's cutting. But like he's not dominating in a way the way that the numbers would have you thinking like Giannis in the paint. Like Giannis is like making people. It's like when you run the ball in football, like he's beating you up. Like you're pissed now. AD's kind of like throwing 20-yard passes and like it's getting there, but you don't feel demoralized. He's not killing anyone's spirit. And that's the difference between like AD and like a Giannis is the way you feel when you're playing them. So in the alpha thing, like I don't think he's an alpha male personally. I really don't think he's a leader at all. Like that's really why he's probably not going to be the best player in the championship team because he's not a leader. I don't think he's a leader of men. I don't think people follow him. And that's a subjective comment because I'm not there. But just from what I've seen, I don't think he's someone people gravitate towards. And that's something you really can't teach. And you really can't even really scout that, to be honest. So it's just like, I don't know. It's just disappointing because LeBron's like, what is he, 37, 36? Like, he's not as good as he once was. So they're limited to the Lakers. And Westbrook, I think, actually was a good fit with him because Westbrook wants to pass. Like, Westbrook was big. Like, Steven Adams is really not good. Like, he made Steven Adams get a max contract. Like, Westbrook is good with centers. We saw him with Gafford last year. Gafford got paid because of Westbrook. Like, so it's really surprising to me why he hasn't been even better.
I want to ask this. Okay, it's like I have two questions. Do we, because Anthony Davis is supposed to be the next after LeBron,
yeah,
we put unrealistic expectations on AD to the point we don't understand we don't appreciate what he does. Because I asked a Lakers fan today, like, he's averaging 25 and 10, like most rebounds since being there, and highest efficiency, even though the 3-point shot, we all know about his jumper. And the dudes told me he should be like peak Shaq. I said,
he was never.
And I said, that must be what it is, though.
I thought Garnett, though.
Yeah, but I think a lot of people think he should be that just the most dominant player in the league. And like how I like your point about how Giannis beats you up. Anthony Davis is the paint finisher, but he's not creating the paint shots like a Joel would create it out the post. Yeah. And like Giannis goes down and creates it. He's just gonna finish up the plays, lobs, putbacks and all that stuff. That must be why it's not demoralized. It's like you play pickup, it's like, oh man, go ahead.
But no, I definitely understand what you're saying. But here's the point. We talk about expectations and stuff like that. We all think that AD is a top 10 player. Could potentially, potentially top 5 player. I mean, for somebody in somebody's rankings. But then you look at the top 5 players, you see guys like Giannis Antetokounmpo, leader. Killer instinct. Steph Curry, leader. Killer instinct. Kevin Durant, killer instinct. Kawhi, Kawhi does what he has to do. So we see those guys, we're comparing AD towards that. And we like, okay, these guys are going to do what it takes to win. We don't have to add like a other person just to make sure that we start seeing, the best out of AD. And I think that with Lakers fans, that's what they're expecting. When you see a guy that LeBron's leaving, hey, we still got a top 5 player in Anthony Davis. They talked about how our team was deadly because we have 2 top 5 players who can be able to take over games. And yes, AD can take over games when LeBron is there. But the question is, can AD take over the game the way that we feel like a top 5 player should be, when LeBron leaves? And I think that's the question that Lakers fans are trying to see and trying to ask.
One thing about Anthony Davis, too, he hasn't dominated 4 quarters in a long time. Like, if we really look at the game and him dominating each quarter, it's been a while. Like, I may be bubble. That's probably a little dramatic. But like realistically, like I'm talking about this NBA Central just posting them. Like after 3 quarters, AD has this. Like he really hasn't done that in a while. He's had really good games, but he's taking breaks, and I don't know. It's something just about that. I feel like as an opponent, like we all play against that tall guy that has like 45 points in high school. We're like, dang. But like then you have that guy who scored 40, but like he's shooting jumpers. This guy ain't really that good, bro. He kind of scared a little bit. He might be good, but he's just taller than us. That's the vibe AD gives you when you play him. I feel like that players thing. Now, it's not that he's not good. It's not that he's not top 10. But it's like, this guy really as good as people making him seem, even though he is. But it's all about how people take you. That's what made Jordan great. People are scared of him. It's not because we all know he's better than everyone, but people are also scared of you. People are not going to play their best against you because they're nervous. Garnett brought that factor. He brought a fear factor. Like, I don't know if AD has that, and that's why I'm not even sure. Like, I mean, Jesus did say he dropped defensively. I think he's still really good. Well, he did say he's top 7, so regardless, he's still really good. But it's the fear factor too that like people are trying to. I mean, how many times we saw Rob Williams trying to jump over him twice last night?
Yo,
Rob Williams, you're not that guy. Like, I have you on fantasy. I love it.
Whoa. Robert Williams do have
he's
some hops.
6'9" though. He's LeBron.
But he has hops. Look at him in Texas A&M. Look at him now. Like this ain't nothing. This ain't nothing new. I'm not trying to be this biased Celtics fan, but I'm just saying that.
I'm wearing greens.
Robert Williams. I'm saying let's just not carry like he don't throw. He don't get
like
up.
backwards. I'm talking. He's catching the oop behind his head. I'm like, yo, like AD. But I digress.
Hopefully he gets it together, because if he don't, at the LeBron leave, I'm pretty sure they're gonna be trying to get rid of him too. They're gonna try to rebuild. If they
He's 28. Let's think about this. This is prime, supposedly. This is supposed to be prime, and he's 28 years old. This man's a baby. In prime years, this is Heat LeBron years. God,
staying in LA. How many years he got left? 3.
Yeah. Well, remember he signed an extension.
Yeah, I don't see him staying.
Rich Paul, hell of a deal.
Yeah.
Heck of a deal. It looked bad at the time.
I think that the Lakers are going. I think when you get a guy like AD and you lose, you took away all your resources, you're gonna have to find a way to rebuild around him. So I know the Lakers are gonna figure out what they can do to rebuild around him. I think that's why they value Russell Westbrook a lot more long-term plans. Even though Russell Westbrook's getting old in age, they know that he's a good playmaker and be able to like force feed a guy like AD. Now they have to build around a guy like Russell Westbrook and Anthony Davis. That would be the problem. But it's just a point that we look at a guy like AD, such a top 5 talent. We don't expect to have these type of questions when a guy like LeBron is leaving.
That's right.
Yeah, it's a really interesting situation. I'm really excited to see next like 2-3 years how it truly develops. Like, really. But anyway, moving on. I think Marco, I think you want to start with this one. This is just our Damien Lillard topic. We want to talk about, like, is Dame one of the reasons why Portland hasn't been as good as we thought, especially this year? I thought it'd be a little better than this. So is Dame a factor in that? In long term?
I think the only reason why Dame could be a factor in Portland is because his willingness to get traded. I think that's the only reason. I think that when we look at the Portland situation, it's a couple things. You do have a good partner in CJ McCollum. That was good, but they've been in it for a long time to see that wasn't working. They got salary cap strapped. You let a guy like LaMarcus Aldridge go, and you didn't replace him with nobody. Then I guess these last 2 years, finally they try to bring in defensive talent and probably surround it with guys like Robert Covington, Justin Nurkic, all these guys, Derrick Jones, and these type of guys of the world. And that just didn't work out. But then we look at the coach and we see that, well, the coach doesn't play defense, even though this coach has had so many trips to the playoffs.
Yeah.
I just think that with this team, you had to break up a guy like CJ McCollum, because we seen CJ. CJ isn't a top 10 player. He isn't arguably a top 15 player. So he's like, I think he's about 30 years old right now. So we've seen how far he can go. We've seen his ceiling. We've seen him in his prime. It's not good enough for Portland Trailblazers. And I think that they're so keen on trying to build this Dame Lillard and CJ McCollum backcourt that is just messing up the opportunities that they have. Y'all are always talking about the Celtics and Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. But thing it is, I think that Jaylen Brown has the potential to be a top 15 player. But I think that when we look at a guy like CJ
probably better than McCollum, I get that.
Yeah, but we look at a guy like CJ McCollum, we don't see that. We don't see the potential that we already seen what we've seen from TJ McCollum. So I just think that since we've seen that, we have to break it off. And I think that's the Portland Trailblazers problem. They didn't break it off, and now they're having a problem right now because Dame is getting old.
Yeah, I just wanted, just so we know, I want to read some of the players off on the Portland Trailblazers roster, show you how good the roster is. I mean, the players are there. You have a roster with players. You have Dame, Anthony Simons, okay, CJ McCollum, okay, Norman Powell, okay, Nasir Little, Robert Covington, Larry Nance, Nurk, Zeller isn't a bum. Like, you have players on this team. They're playing horrendous. Now, why is Larry Nance not in the starting lineup, or why is he at least not in the closing lineup? Is like coaching. Now, that's just deeper than what we have time for today. But like, that's just, they haven't set Dame up for success necessarily. Like, I think he's definitely I give Dame like 20% of blame. Kind of like, I think him and all the other small market heroes like a Bill, like Malcolm named earlier, they have a bigger portion in the not being successful as the outside people would think, because of what they've done behind the scenes. Now, and that's something about money. We saw Dame's been leaked today that he's trying to get a max extension at, like, what is he, 31, 32? I'm good on that. 5 years. I'll pass. Like, great player, but I mean, I don't know. That's a hard GM decision, especially for a first-year GM. So it's just he has a bigger portion in failure than people would really think. It's not that he's not a good player. He's either top 10 or borderline top 10 player. But the team is never going to be as successful as it can with him on the team. And the only way for Portland to get out of this is to trade Damian Lillard. We've seen it happen with other stars. The only way they can get out of this, you have to trade the best player since Bill Walton you've had. He's been the best player since 1970. He's the best player you've had. You have to trade him now. It's the only way to get out of this is to trade him off the team.
Oh, don't disrespect Clyde Drexler. Don't disrespect Clyde.
But arguable. But okay.
Hey, so I was pro Dame and what he was doing. I'm done with him. Like, I don't sit and struggle, bro. Because listen here. You talk all this loyalty stuff, and what he's doing is this. He can't handle not being the best player on the team. And a lot of in life, you have to realize when you need help and what you are and what you aren't.
Yes.
Acceptance in life, take that. Acceptance in life is key. He can't accept the fact. So and then we talk about, like, he always doing these little subtle help comments, right? You're averaging 21 points on 30% from three and 40% from the field. Are you really helping Portland? And you have a desire to be the highest paid player in the league. You want a 2-year, $107 million extension. Bro, y'all are going to be capped out if you get paid. How much help do you really want, bro? And it's okay, get your money. But don't do all this subtle like you really want to win. You want to win your way, but you ain't good enough to win your way. Bro, tell him get rid of CJ. If you want to win that bad, tell him get rid of CJ.
I think he likes CJ, though. That's the problem.
Yeah,
I'm too nice. Too nice.
Bro, sometimes you got to love her, but let her go. Sometimes you got to love her, but let her go. He got to go. And as a GM and the owner of a team, you have to realize when you peak with somebody, sometimes you have friendships, relationships. That's just for a certain time periods. Him and CJ was just for a time to grow, get to the playoffs, get the fan base behind you. It's been time to make a move. One of them got to go. They can't win together. I would love Dame in Philly. I would love him in Philly. But one of them got to go, yo. Like, it's getting ridiculous. And for you to feel like you deserve 2 years, 55 mil, they will be paying 55 mil at 36 years old. This is a joke. I wouldn't even have paid Kobe Bryant healthy 55 mil at 36 years old. I don't even care if he was healthy. I wouldn't pay Jordan that. I wouldn't even pay LeBron that. You think I'm gonna pay that? Kyrie, my favorite player. Kyrie wouldn't get paid that.
Oh yeah. So
this is a joke, yo.
Yeah. And I definitely understand where y'all coming from. And I just think that as a Blazers organization, we have to see that we have Dame, who was a top 10 player. In my mind, we think in our head, like, are we ever going to find a top 10 player like that in a long time? No. So we need to figure out what we're going to do to be able to build this team.
That's how you get stuck, though. And that's why he's the problem, because you're stuck with him.
But this is the point, though. I mean, yeah, you could be stuck with Dame. I'd rather be stuck with Dame than have a Dame and CJ. I'd rather trade CJ, find a star to be with Dame, than just try to trade Dame and then just try to find a top 10 player altogether. You gotta understand, this is Portland Trailblazers right now. They're a small market team. Who wants to go to Portland? You see any top 10 player trying to go to Portland? No, you don't see that. So you gotta understand what you have and be able to gravitate and probably find trades. And I think that's what Portland is lacking right now. They're not being aggressive. They're being satisfied because they feel like they got two good players and they just need to find the surrounding group. And you can't do that. Nah, Danny Ainge is more impressive. If Danny Ainge was there, you already know that CJ would have been gone.
Would he?
I don't. Yeah, that's debatable because this looks very two players with a redundancy skill set. Where have we heard this, ladies and gentlemen?
Where we see that?
I don't know where we've. I couldn't tell
To be
you.
honest, before
Jordan Scott, nah.
I'm gonna cut y'all off with this one because
I don't know.
This is the point. I'm back with. If I seen that if CJ was 24 and Dame was 23. I would have kept them longer because I want to see their potential in their primes, you know. And
we
that's
project them to be better.
I said we already seen Dame and CJ in their primes. They are 28. Dame is 30 something years old, and CJ's like 30 years old.
Yeah, the same.
We seen what we can see, but when we talk about the other two players that y'all want to talk about, they are guys that are young. And if CJ and Dame was that,
so was Dame and CJ though. Let's not forget we were comparing them to Curry and Clay because that was the projection. Let's not forget.
No, and we did.
It was though. Just like
that's understandable. That's understandable. Yeah, you're right.
When they were no.
Ron, you're right. When they were younger, they're 30 years old right now. Let them go. Even when they was 28 or 29, you didn't see that. But we're talking about guys who are young.
For CJ though, that's the hard part though. He's hurt, he's old, and he can't play make for you, and he doesn't play defense. I'm good. I'd rather have Buddy Hield in the Lakers than CJ McCollum, and he's not better than Buddy's not better than CJ. But is he a better fit on a championship team? He is. I'm just gonna be real. Like he's not a good fit on a championship team.
I mean, I guess CJ will be cool in Miami, but what is Miami?
But then you lose Kyle Lowry. I'll take Lowry. He's not a better player, but he fits better on a team.
I mean, I guess if Dame wants to play with Kyrie, I'll take CJ in some pieces at this point.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying, but I that's the thing with those two, like. CJ, he has to go to a contender. Don't know a real contender, need him. And then Dame, you want to go somewhere to win a championship, but what team you go to is you really going to make him a favorite?
Yeah, Dame has to understand how to take sacrifices with this one because this will be a whole new role that he will play on any team that he's going to be on. Well, unless he play for Philly, then that's different. But
that's his best fit.
Yeah, that's his best fit. He can play his stuff.
Yeah.
But I think that other teams, he definitely have to switch up his game.
Isn't he stuck if he play in Philly though? Like, if he goes to Philly, are we sure they even come out the East still?
No, but then we could blame him though. It's one of the reasons why. Now there's no excuses, and that's what I want to see.
I feel like they will blame Doc Rivers before they did.
Oh my God, yeah, they don't blame Doc Rivers. That's exactly what happened. That is exactly. They say Doc made him become a spot-up shooter. Look,
you're gonna like this. We've seen it before. We know. So yeah.
Oh man, yeah. I forgot Doc was the coach. But any last comments on this segment? I think we had two good segments.
Yeah, it sucks to be in Portland, and good topic. Free AD, man. Free AD from the hate.
Oh my God.
I may actually root for the Lakers to make the finals this year so they stop hating on the Browns.
Malcolm.
Yeah. What I'm saying is we need to look at Chauncey Billups because there's no way that Lillard should be struggling like this. Number one, he's doing less pick and roll actions as he did the year before, and he's having a lot less touches now. So we have to look at that. So
I got something for that. I got one more thing for that.
Right.
Do you know this fool is trying to play him like Steph?
Yeah, but he's not good off ball though.
I'm like Chauncey. Like, how many games does it take you to see he ain't Steph, bro? Give him the ball. Like,
yeah. On that note, I have nothing else to say. You all have covered everything in that note. Literally, I have nothing else to say. I mean, I just want you all have been doing beautiful reviews lately. Keep subscribing, keep liking, and share with your friends.
Hey, make sure y'all follow us on Instagram and on Twitter at Malc and Ron Show. We have a lot of crazy takes, a lot of good things. And make sure y'all follow G on No Layups. He has a lot of good topics. Talk about my Celtics, and I'm happy about that. So make sure y'all tune in. All right.
All right.
All right. See y'all.